Witchers and woke Witchers, welcome to Witcher lore. That's right, peoples, I am telling you, it is time for another lore dive. This is my first lore dive into the Witcher universe. I am very excited to see what this is all about because honestly, all I saw was the Netflix show and it left a very bad taste in my mouth. The taste was the taste of iron because of the muzzle of the gun I put in there, trying not to blow my brains out because of what they did to a beloved franchise. I love how people in chat are saying, Lamau, women can't be Witchers, like they didn't see the trailer for the new Witcher game, which has a female Witcher. But we're not talking about that. I don't care about the culture war. None of that matters. Everyone's complaining. Everyone's crazy. All right, no one cares. I don't care. I don't care. They're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats. We're diving into the lore of the Witchers. Okay, so toss a coin to your Witcher. We're jumping into it. As you know, I will consume all lore. All lore shall be consumed. I don't know much about the Witcher universe, but I do know that 10,000 likes and I will be doing another Witcher lore dive into all the crazy creatures and elder gods. And I want to do an entire lore dive into the story of Geralt of Rivia himself. So right now we're looking into the Witcher lore from the Lorebrarians, as well as they have a follow-up video to this one talking about the Witcher lore in regards to monsters and magic and everything. So this should cover the power system, the world building, and basically all the lore stuff for the Witcher universe. So let's see what this is all about. Now, listen, this has been highly requested. We've been doing Warhammer and League of Legends lore, so this is up there. All right, let's go.
Hey lore lovers, my name
is
Eric with the Lorebrarians YouTube channel, and welcome to the first installment in a series of videos in which we'll learn about the characters, creatures, events, and settings of the Witcher universe.
I'm ready, baby. As someone that thinks that the Witcher is like a cool concept, just based on what I've seen on the Netflix Witcher before it completely went to shit, I am more than eager to see what this is actually about lore-wise, and put it on the giant lore tier list of all lores that I've ever consumed. Fun fact, this is canon to Fortnite. Fuck you, everything is canon to Fortnite. Shut the fuck up!
These videos are meant to act as a cursory guide for those new to or unfamiliar with the Witcher books, video games, or television series, as well as a nice refresher for those returning. All
right, I'm fucking ready for this, baby. Again, listen, I'm just saying, League of Legends so far is an A tier, and Warhammer is S tier on the lore tier list. So I've been eating pretty good lately with my lore dives, but I will consume all lore. Every single bit of lore will be consumed.
General and surface level detail will be given to the lands, the history, the magic, the creatures, and the characters that fill the world in order to paint a vibrant picture of the Witcher.
All right.
These videos should act as wayposts and guides. We won't be fleshing out minor details or delving into the rich history and lore that lies below the surface.
Okay.
Such topics.
This is more surface level. Obviously, there's going to be an infinite amount of lore. In a video game franchise this old, when did this start? 1988? Witcher first. Apparently it started fuck long time ago. A fucking long time ago.
Topics warrant their own dedicated videos, which will appear in the months to come.
All right, I'm ready.
Today, in part 1.
Strap in, I like Witcher lore. Hell yeah, dude, hell yeah. The game's adapted the books. Dude, I am so ready. I am so ready for a new lore series to suck me in.
We'll spend some time exploring the mountain steppes, the frigid tundras, the peaty bogs, dense forests, fertile fields, and salty waters that comprise the world, as well as some of the major political powers that lay claim to such lands.
Oh, dude. Politics, world building, ecosystems. Call me a fertile bog, if you know what I'm saying.
But before we begin, if you're a fan of lore and storytelling, or if The Witcher is dear to you, consider subscribing to the channel where lore videos are uploaded regularly.
Hell yeah.
The support is much appreciated.
I'm ready.
All right, let's dive in.
I'm ready, baby. Lore time. I love me a good map, especially with the gory pussy lakes. Pustolski. That's what I meant, actually. That's what I meant to say.
The world of The Witcher is one filled with magic and monsters, with races other than humans, with untold treasures and undiscovered histories. Within the greater world are large empires and kingdoms where armored soldiers patrol paved highways. Great cities stand tall along rivers and deltas and act as hubs for trade and commerce. Kings and...
I mean, classic medieval fantasy setting, it seems, right? Just a medieval fantasy time. People in armor, different cities and cultures, politics, fantasy stuff. Medieval fantasy at its most classic. Other races, Major L, call in the hate monger. True, true.
And their vassals guard smaller villages and homesteads with daring knights and regular militia, where farm...
Dude, I cannot to say that this is a coincidence, right? So they have the Glory Pussy Lake right next to every pole goes in a hole right over here. All right, we don't want to talk about any of this shit. All right, bro, there's a bra right over here. There's bra. All right, and here we have people moaning. Right, this is the land of moan. Like, this is not a coincidence, right? All right, this is sodomizing people over here. All right, I'm just saying. I am not that brain rotted. Okay, it is not right. Okay, dude, am I reading these wrong, or is like, did someone crazy came up with this shit? All right, don't look at this, the city of clitoris over here. All right, we don't want to see any of that. All right, pay no attention to this place. I don't even want to even say what I think. Anyway,
farmers till the fields.
This is a Polish story. Yeah, all right.
And live a harsh life. Beyond the reach of humanity, there are vile creatures and beings of myth that
Geralt of Labia, shut the fuck up, Chad. Shut up!
lurk about. Forests and mountains are populated with dwarves and elves, and in
all right, classic dwarves and elves, forests and mountains. So far, pretty classic medieval fantasy setting, very Lord of the Rings-ish.
great fortresses, young apprentices learn the ways of sorcery and magic.
Okay.
Much of what transpires in The Witcher occurs on a large and central landmass known only as the continent. Although the land settled by
Guess you don't have to come up with an interesting name for the continent if you just call it the continent. All right.
men are vast, the continent is vaster still, and much of it lies untamed and undiscovered.
Oh, shit.
Many explorers have tried their hand, but the continent hides its secrets beyond lands too remote or too dangerous to be thoroughly charted. But what has been charted is large enough to support vast empires, large kingdoms, and countless other cities, towns, and villages, as well as wide expanses of wildlands. It's interesting to note that there hasn't been an official map released that's certified by Witcher creator and author Andrzej Sapkowski due to the ever-changing story, but many iterations have been deemed more or less accurate for our purposes.
All right, let's go.
The continent has 3 natural boundaries that extend along the north, east, and west. To the north, the snow-capped Dragon Mountains form a sheer and awe-inspiring barrier.
Are they called Dragon Mountains just because it's like a cool name, or like are there dragons? Are there dragons in The Witcher? Actual dragons? Okay, well that's a good reason to call them the Dragon Mountain. I mean, so far I'm failing to see like the difference, like any uniqueness to this story. No? Yes? No? Dude, chat, you guys are literally lying to me. You lying. All right, we're gonna have to do something uncalled for and do our research. The Witcher Dragon. There are dragons, okay? Dragon these nuts on your face. Shut up! Sorry, bro.
Preventing settlers from reaching the lands beyond. The mountains are named so due to the large population of dragons.
Could have just waited like 3 seconds and my guy would have said it. But yeah, that's a pretty good reason. I would name it the Dragon Mountains.
That roost atop its peaks and within its caverns,
right.
Taking as snacks any humans who wander into their hunting grounds.
Okay, so it's a really dangerous area, I guess. I guess dragons are actually like incredibly powerful creatures in this universe.
Settlements and even kingdoms exist to the far north, relying on mining and trade to support them economically.
All right.
The kingdoms of Kovir and Poviss lie to the west, along the coast, and the great kingdom of Kaedwen also extends its border ever northward.
I love a good map. I know I'm memeing around here a lot, talking about how it's generic, but a good fantasy map always gets me fucking ready.
The reclusive bastion and school of Witchers, Kaer Morhen, lies at the crossroads of the Dragon Mountains and Blue Mountains, shrouded in secrecy within their shadows.
And so the Witchers, again, I know very little about Witchers. I watched like the first season of the Witcher TV show like years ago. The Witchers are like these big badass Giga Chad dudes, right? That are like somehow beefed up, like they're like roided up on drugs that just go out there and kill demons. Like that's their thing, right? Do they have like Jedi rules that they're like not allowed to have children and stuff? Like I don't know. I don't know a lot about this world. All I know is they're fucking Giga Chads and holy shit, are they awesome.
The briny waters of the Great Sea lap against the shore that marks the western edge of the continent. Although small islands settled by humans dot the waters near the continent, anything further remains undiscovered.
All right.
Perhaps a new continent lies beyond the horizon, or an old one, long forgotten in memory and lost to time. The natural borders of the east are a conglomeration of mountain ranges that run north to south as follows: the Blue Mountains, the Fiery Mountains, and Tir Toker. Ruins of old elvish settlements can be found in the foothills of the Blue Mountains.
Why do they call them old elvish settlements? Are there any actual elves that are still running around? Or are they this ancient, like, somewhat extinct race that lives there. Witchers are sterile and muscly, so they're perfect as male prostitutes. Chat, what? Anyway.
And they're surviving
Don't trust elves, they're assholes. Hell yeah. Racism! Woo!
contingents of free elves take up residence deep within the mountain range, pushed to the edge of the known world by the ever-expanding humans.
So the humans hate the elves. They actually do hate the elves in the canon. The elves are actually literally being pushed away and pushed into like the fucking edges of the continent here, barely surviving.
The source waters of two mighty rivers emerge from the blue and fiery mountains. The Yaruga and Pontar rivers slice across the continent, bringing fresh water to support fertile farmlands, large kingdoms, and commerce, before dumping into the Great Sea. The mountains of Tir Toker support one of the few remaining enclaves of gnomes, which had
Gnomes? I thought they were dwarves. That's interesting.
all but been obliterated in the
Oh my fucking god, dude. This is crazy. What the racism?
early years of human conquest.
Dude, the humans! No! The humans out there, they fucked up the elves, they fucked up the gnomes. Dude, what's Keemstar gonna do in the world of The Witcher?
Beyond the eastern fringes of the fiery mountains, through the Elskerdeg Pass, lies a hostile and parched landscape known as the Korath Desert. Inhospitable to all but the most well-adapted creatures and rumored to hide the ruins of a long-forgotten race, the Korath acts as a buffer between the northern kingdoms and the distant, mysterious lands of Zeracania and Hochland. Home to tribes and cultures suited to the steppes and arid wastelands of the continent interior, these lands are connected to the outside world by a small trickle of travelers and merchants, rash and foolhardy enough to brave the journey, bringing back tales of warrior women and cults devoted to worshipping dragons.
Tales of warrior women, even they didn't believe that shit. No, why didn't it? No. The legendary warrior woman, and they're all just like, hardy har har. Woke women in my fantasy. I'm sorry, I couldn't help myself.
Dragons. Not much is known of the southern border of the continent, which no doubt ends where the vast southern empire of Nilfgaard touches the sea.
Alright.
There are tales told by the merchants of Skellige and Novigrad of a land that exists beyond the continent, further south.
Again, it definitely seems very medieval in its framing, right? The idea that the world isn't fully explored, that there isn't like free trade between these obviously fucking annoying different cultures. And it seems like society is based on humans constantly fighting with each other and fucking up every other species and race that happens to be around. Oppressing the elves, oppressing the gnomes. They're eating the dogs, they're eating the cats, they're oppressing the gnomes, oppressing the elves, and we will build a wall and we will make the elves pay for that wall. Anyway, the point is, send me to Nilfgaard. Chat, why are you so horny? And it's just not a fully explored world, and I do like that.
Simply called Beyond the Seas, where exotic principalities of Ophir and Zangvabar hold equally exotic flora and fauna. These tales would be nothing more than that, if not for the occasional presence of these foreigners in port cities. As the boundaries of human cities end, as the heavily trodden roads become reclaimed, as villages slowly transition into wilds, there exists creatures beyond comprehension, many of which frequently prey on humans and other races. They are
Oh shit! All right, we're getting into the monsters. I love me some monsters. All right, so obviously it does seem like the racism that humans have, like against holy titties. That interrupted me. But the racism that the humans have against like a lot of, don't stop saying hear me out. Stop, chat. Oh my fucking god.
Monsters of the continent. A video in this series will be dedicated to discussing monsters.
Yeah, we're gonna be doing that right after this.
But I would be remiss if I didn't mention them here. Monsters and magical creatures are an integral part of the Witcher universe, and have been on the continent since the conjunction of the spheres.
What the fuck is the conjunction of the spears? Bro's just gonna drop that shit and expect me to know it?
They take myriad shapes and sizes. Some help, some hinder, some kill, and others protect.
Wait, some help and some protect? There are good monsters? You mean this isn't just an excuse for blatant racism? I could fix them.
But they are prevalent everywhere that humanity has not extended its grip, and in some cases despite human settlement. And they are the primary reason Witchers, professional monster slayers came into being.
All right, so the Witchers are like this semi-religious-esque cult of monster killers that are living together, and they're fucking all these Giga Chad dudes, and they just go out there and kill monsters all the time, right? That's kind of their gimmick. And their job is to, what, protect mankind, to protect society? Are they also anti-elves and anti-gnomes, just like general human populations? I mean, listen, I'm here, I'm learning, I'm liking it so far, I'm just saying.
Much of the known world can be divided nicely into two camps, the Northern Kingdoms and the Empire of Nilfgaard.
Nilfgaard! Guard your milfs. Guard your milfs for the Witchers.
The Amel mountain range acting as a natural buffer between them. Nilfgaard is a grand engine of conquest, built by blade and blood, and it has conquered nearly all land south of the Amel.
Damn. So Nilfgaard is like an incredibly successful fucking regime here. It's like the, to quote because I'm consuming the lore of every fantasy world of all time, it's toss a MILF to your Witcher, oh my god. It's very much seems like Nilfgaard is like the Noxus of the Witcher universe. Like how Noxus is an expanding government force that's trying to take over the land of Runeterra or whatever. Kind of like how Nilfgaard's seeing themselves as an expansionist nation, it seems.
Despite its current
We have but the finest of MILFs, but for a very reasonable price.
standing, Nilfgaard had humble beginnings as a city-state among other kingdoms and principalities of the south, but that didn't last long. Through subterfuge,
Nilfgaard is basically the Roman Empire of a German nation. Witcher World is based on the history of Europe. Wow! Okay, that's cool. That's really interesting.
diplomacy or sword point, it quickly annexed and conquered neighboring cities until it grew powerful enough to
It annexed them, bro. Holy shit. Oh my god!
challenge even the existing southern kingdoms. But Nilfgaard saw itself not as an equal to these principalities, but as a superior force. A superior
Yeah, very, very Noxian in like Runeterra. I mean, it's not just I mean, I don't know. Is this like Nazi Romans? Do they like view themselves as superior like beings, or just that they have a superior culture?
culture, a superior people.
Yeah, he just said all of those things. I don't know. Maybe they are Nazi-ish. I don't know how evil they actually are in the state of the world. But they very much seem like their way is the right way and the only way. And anyone that is not them is therefore lesser than them. Nazi Romans, an expansionist force. It's interesting. So are they considered the bad guys in the world of The Witcher? Or are they just happen to be there? It's called Temeria? No, it's called Nilfgaard.
They used
Temeria. Sounds a lot like Germany, you're saying? I don't know.
their superiority and cunning military
The writer is Polish, he doesn't like Nazis, and Nilfgaard are bad guys. Yeah, Nilfgaard seems to be bad guys. Very, very Nazi-ish. Very Nazi expansionism. Very, very much giving the vibe of like extreme fascist ideology.
tactics to carve large swaths of land. Kingdom after kingdom fell to the Nilfgaardian juggernaut as it
Goddamn.
marched north, or was wise enough to submit before annihilation. The once great kingdoms of Matina, Ebbing, and Gesso fell to the emperor, among
Goddamn.
numerous other duchies and city-states. More recently, the kingdom of Nazir, just south of the Amel Mountains, succumbed to Nilfgaardian aggression, and the Duchy of Toussaint has bent the knee, paying homage to
my
the emperor
God.
as a vassal state. People
So it definitely does look that way. It definitely does look that way. That this is like a really oppressive expansionist force. Fuck, dude.
that fell to conquest were assimilated into Nilfgaardian culture, which is quite different than the cultures of the northern kingdoms. They were also expected to learn the language of the empire and swear
Yeah, they're forced to speak in German like they did in Nazi Germany. Holy shit.
oaths of fealty to their overlords. Kings who sued for peace were typically allowed to retain their titles and status, but
No! This is Trump telling Trudeau that don't worry, if we annex Canada, I'll make you the governor. No! No! Oh, funny orange man. You funny orange man.
were required to gather levies in gold and men for their empire. As Nilfgaard
Yeah,
continued
they basically, emperors of other cities ended up falling, getting absorbed, and becoming governors of vassal states, forcing to pay taxes to the true emperor.
its inexorable march north, the empire and its ruler become major instigators to the stories that unfold in the Witcher series. They act as aggressors as they continually march on the northern kingdoms, seeking to conquer all of the known continent. This sets into motion a myriad of events that swirl around characters the likes of Geralt of Rivia, Yennefer of Vengerberg,
Okay.
and Cirilla of Sintra.
Okay, I don't know that last one, but I've heard of those other one. Yennefer's the mage lady. Again, I only know the fucking, I only know the freaking first show of the thing. But yeah, all right. So the Witchers are completely opposed. Like, they're like a religious order, seemingly. So they don't really get involved in, like, actual politics. So they don't care, necessarily, that there's some sort of oppressive government. From their perspective, that's not the problem, right? Witcher is a strict rule to never engage in politics. No helping oppressed. They're neutral. That's their duty. That's their job. Damn, all right.
And pushes them towards their destinies.
Witchers just kill monsters. I mean, I do like that a lot, because very often when you're, like, in a political setting, like this obviously is. First of all, I think every fantasy world needs to have a fucking political setting. I'm just saying. But I do like a political setting from the perspective of someone neutral. I think that's always so much more interesting than a political setting from the perspective of one of the political parties. And that definitely seems to be the vibe that The Witcher is giving off so far.
The northern kingdoms
The North remembers!
stand in opposition to the Empire of Nilfgaard in more ways than one, and are the kingdoms, principalities, and cities that lie north of the Amel Pass. Collectively referred to as Nordlings, the people of these lands are hardy and battle-seasoned, from centuries of bitter wars both between kingdoms of men and against races of non-humans.
Damn, wait, so the North, they're kind of like, they're above the mountain range. I guess that's the main reason why Nilfgaard didn't conquer them yet, because of this mountain range, I suppose it's really hard to get through. There are only a couple of little alleys, and that's probably pretty easy to block off. So I do imagine that is a large reason why the northern countries didn't completely submit to Nilfgaard yet. And the northern countries, they are not united. They are not one force. Therefore, they are always fighting. They're fighting with fucking elves, and look, they're probably not good guys either. Just like Nilfgaard. They're probably much more barbaric. I mean, by the way he's describing it, if they're constantly fighting with each other, it does give the impression that of a much more Roman Empire aesthetic to Nilfgaard. Because the major difference between the Roman Empire and Nazism, someone in my chat said this, but this is very real. Nazis very much viewed themselves as superior people, whereas Romans viewed them as a superior culture. So from the perspective of Romans, everyone else is a barbarian, right? So these guys very much probably look like barbarians in the eyes of the Nilfgaardians. Which is pretty fucked up, but that's definitely a very historical contextual vibe that I am getting. And I do like fantasy stories that are rooted in some sort of historical fiction. Obviously there are demons and monsters and giant titty ghouls that are being murdered by witchers, which is not so much in historical fiction, but I do like a world where there are no flat out good guys and bad guys. I do like that a lot.
But the name that connects these people is where their union ends, for their animosity toward Nilfgaard is only slightly stronger than their resentment, distrust,
to each
and
other.
contempt for another.
Yeah, let's go! It's like, listen, I hate you too, but let's ally up against these fucking idiots.
Geopolitical landscape of the Northern Realms is ever-changing. Kingdoms have risen and fallen, with new kingdoms born from the ashes to suffer a similar fate. In the current age, the North can be separated into the 4 kingdoms and several other smaller kingdoms, duchies, and marches. The 4 great kingdoms of the North are the most significant and powerful nations in shaping the continent. They are Redania, Temeria, Aedirn, and Kaedwen. The rushing waters of the Pontar River separate Redania and Kaedwen in the north from Temeria and Aedirn in the south. And the Kestrel and Mahakam mountain ranges separate Redania and Temeria in the west from Kaedwen and Aedirn in the east.
Good stuff.
These natural
water, earth, fire, air. Only the Avatar, master of the 4 elements.
Boundaries facilitate rivalries and conflicts amongst the 4 kingdoms, and we will begin with the older kingdoms of the west, which were settled earlier than those east of the mountains. The kingdom of Redania lies north of the Pontar and stretches to the coasts of the Great Sea in the west. Although it shares ancestry with Temeria, the two have a fierce and often violent rivalry.
This is a big surprise. Nations that are next to each other that don't get along? What? That's crazy. That's crazy. I mean, I'm just impressed that there's so much thought into the geopolitical landscape on what I thought was just a game of fucking priestly giga-chads hunting monsters. I did not expect there to be this much depth in the actual geopolitical landscape at all.
Large swaths of sweeping farmland and fertile fields lend Redania the moniker of breadbasket of the north, and indeed, its grain supplies much of the other kingdoms. Redania's capital is a city of Tretoger, and the kingdom is also known for the brilliant University of Oxenfurt, where the greatest minds converge to seek and share knowledge of the continent, in order to further humankind's enlightenment.
Yeah!
The free city of Novigrad sits at the mouth of the Pontar Delta, a shining beacon of civilization and commerce. The largest city and trading port in the
W College, yeah.
Northern Realm, and perhaps the whole continent, the streets of Novigrad are bustling with traders, peddlers, and merchants selling exotic wares from around the world.
Cool. Love that.
South of the Pontar lies Redania's
I imagine Redania seems to be like the most successful of these four. I mean, not that we've seen the others yet, but by the fact that they have such a bustling metropolis like Novigrad, it does kind of give that vibe.
The Kingdom of Temeria. Temeria is ruled from its capital city of Vizima by the powerful King Foltest, who has led his great armies to victory in many battles. Temeria acts as liege lord to the vassal states of Elander to the northeast, Mahakam and the Thanid Islands to the west, where the sorcery school of Aretuza trains young mages.
Okay, all right. So they have commerce over here, and Redania is much more commerce and, I guess, business-minded, whereas Temeria seems to be much more magic-minded. All right, interesting.
The kingdom is in frequent conflict with Redania over the land surrounding the Pontar, and has often extended its power south, over other kingdoms too small to fight back. The great kingdoms of Aedirn and Kaedwen lie east of the mountains, and are younger than their western neighbors. But like them, the Pontar River divides the lands of Aedirn and Kaedwen, and is the point of much contention between the two rival kingdoms.
No way! These kingdoms are fighting over this lake?
Kaedwen is by far the largest of the four kingdoms, extending all the way to the Dragon Mountains, but its climate is harsh and the land is densely forested. The people of the east harbor more hatred and contempt for non-humans, since they have
because they're living among them. That's how it always works. Every time. It's like the people that live in the southern United States have a much harder time with illegal immigration than the people everywhere else, because that's the people because they're dealing with that type of shit. That just makes sense, honestly. That's just really good writing as far as geopolitics goes.
More recently come to blows in their expansion. Kaedwen and Aedirn have pushed the elves east well into the blue and fiery mountains.
W racism. Oh, that's so sad.
The most notable locations within Kaedwen are the Banard School of Sorcerers, where
so they also have a School of Sorcerers.
Like Aretuza, mages are trained in the ways of magic, and the Witcher Fortress of Kaer Morhen.
Wait, there's more than one Witcher Fortress? What? That's interesting. In one of the interviews, the author of the Witcher books confirmed that the world doesn't really have much lore. It's a canvas on which he paints the characters' stories. I mean, that's very cool that they still managed to come up with such good lore despite the fact that it's a canvas where they're building stories. But I didn't realize there was more than one Witcher Fortress. Kaer Morhen, yeah. So I guess there's multiple Witcher Fortresses, but I suppose all the Witchers are kind of allied, even though they're in different land masses and different regimes. They're just kind of an unpolitical cult of dudes that just kind of go around killing monsters, so every nation just deals with having them around. I guess they don't lend any actual political force anywhere. They're like Jujutsu Kaisen vibe. Every Witcher school owns a base.
Witchers are taught how to survive.
They fucking need these guys because they're going out there killing their monsters. Like, dude.
And thrive in their deadly profession. South of Kaedwen is Aedirn, the final great kingdom. Aedirn is ruled from its capital city of Vengerberg, and although the non-human dwarves have a neutral relationship with the kingdom, many in Aedirn persecute elves and have pushed them from their ancestral homeland of Dol Blathana. To further its ambitions,
they're like, guys, we are not so bad. We are not so bad. We get along with dwarves. But fuck elves! Am I right, guys? Yeah!
To ensure its defenses, Aedirn has been a strong ally to the lesser kingdom of Lyria and Rivia. Besides the four great kingdoms, there exist many lesser kingdoms and duchies throughout the northern realms. The kingdom of Lyria and Rivia.
Hey, Rivia, that's where our boy is from, right? That's where Gerald is from. Gerald, our dude.
Lies south of Aedirn and has itself once been two distinct kingdoms. The marriage of Queen Maeve of Lyria to King Reginald of Rivia united them, and the kingdom is known for its
political marriage. Whoop!
hardy and valiant forces, led in battle by Queen Maeve herself.
You mean there were already girl bosses in The Witcher and people are still complaining about, dude, they still felt the need to include more girl bosses in The Witcher? That's crazy.
The regions of Sidaris, Karak, Brugge, Verdun, and Sodden have all at some time been independent nations and have all at some time been conquered or otherwise forced to bend the knee to the great kingdoms. They are volatile lands frequently in conflict, especially those south of the Yaruga.
Oh, he's not from Rivia. He became famous in Rivia. I want to do a full Geralt lore dive. If you incline to leave a like on this video.
As they were the first to be targeted by the Nilfgaardian Empire. The powerful but small kingdom of Sintra lies along the coast of the sea, south of the Yaruga, and was ruled by the proud, militant Queen Calanthe.
Alright.
Sintra shared an alliance with the Isles of Skellige due to Calanthe's union with King Ice Tursak. The islands of Skellige were among the lands first settled by humans, and it is a nation of equals more than any other, where common folk hold nearly as many liberties as the nobility.
What? A democracy in my fantasy world? Get out of here! Oh my god. The reason why there's so many magical beings and monsters is because the world is made up of different worlds. That's pretty fucking cool. Alright, I'm sure we'll get there in the lore dive at some point.
The people are as harsh and briny as the waters that surround them. A nation of shipwrights and maritime commerce, Skellige is reputed to have the most elite naval force in the known world.
Damn.
The final kingdoms exist to the far and frigid north. Kovir and Poviss was once part of Redania in early history, but it is now an independent kingdom in its own right.
Yeah, and what are they gonna do? They live all the way in the north, among the Dragon Mountains or whatever. It's like an impossible area to conquer, so they fought for their own independence. That makes perfect sense. Like, it's crazy how much thought went into the dividing up this landmass. Like, I, who didn't even play the games, can come up with perfectly good geopolitical reasons as to why things ended up the way they did. That's fucking awesome, dude. That's just good storytelling in general.
Due largely to the massive reserves of precious and strategic metals in the mountains of their lands. Kovir maintains neutrality in much of its affairs of the continent, and has the wealth to support the most elite mercenaries and condottieri to protect its interests.
Hell yeah.
The small duchies, collectively known as the Hengefors League, were once part of Kovir's eastern marches, but have since gained their independence through civil strife and uprisings.
That's good shit.
The lands of the continent are vast and variable, from the frothy beaches of Sidaris to the scorching deserts of Korath, from the frigid tundra of northern Kaedwen to the exotic lands beyond the sea. Within them unfold the stories of great kingdoms and legendary characters, the conflicts between nations, and the relentless expansion of humanity. Against this backdrop, the tales of The Witcher are told.
That's awesome. Fuck yeah. This was a great video. This was such a good introduction to this world.
Thanks for watching part 1.
Yeah, this is a great introduction to the world. Just basically, this whole fucking deep dive. I'm not done yet. Don't worry, I'm not done yet because until we consume the monster lore, I'm not satisfied. All right. So this is the monster lore and magic. I want to get the full setting and the full lore before we actually dive into individuals like stories of Geralt, like the elder gods and all that. So we are not done, baby. Not done, baby. All right.
Hey lore lovers, my name is Eric with the
All right.
Worldbuilding's YouTube channel, and welcome to part 2 of the World of the Witcher Explained.
There we go.
If you haven't already, be sure to check out part 1 in which we explored the setting of The Witcher.
Yeah, that's the first step. First, we need the setting, and now we gotta figure out the power system, the monsters, all that shit. We're doing a full-ass lore dive. We don't half-ass lore dives on Nux Taku, the lore dive channel, okay? We go balls deep. We consume all lore. My mouth is watering because I know that the geopolitical conflict side of The Witcher is not even the main focus of the authors and the creators. So I have to say, if that much thought went into the geopolitics, I am nuts to butts, bare naked, ass full of swamp, and ready to go. I'm locked in, baby.
The continent, the geography, and the geopolitical landscape. I'll leave a link in the description below.
All right.
In part 2, we'll be taking a closer look at the natural, unnatural,
that's
and
what I want.
supernatural
That's what I want,
as we
baby.
discuss the magic and monsters of The Witcher.
Yes.
As with all the videos in this series, this is meant to act as a cursory guide for those new to or returning to The Witcher, laying the foundation for future videos to delve into more specific topics and details that deserve to be discussed at length. But before we begin, if you're a fan of lore and storytelling, or if The Witcher is dear to you, consider subscribing to the channel where lore videos are uploaded frequently. The support is much appreciated. All right, time to gather our cloaks, fasten our swords, and prepare our protective elixirs as we trek into the dangerous wilds of the continent and seek out the mysteries of magic and monsters.
I'm cooked.
Let's dive in.
This is what I wanted. I love some good lore. You have no idea that how much some good lore fucking gets me. And now after we're done with this, we're gonna need to get into like the actual stories of the different games and the tales of Geralt. I'm literally so fucking ready. Hell yeah, dude. I'm so happy we found a new universe to jump into.
Magic is replete in the world of The Witcher and acts as a fundamental source of power used both by the natural and unnatural. It can be found coursing through bubbling creeks and winding rivers. It can be found deep.
Dude, this is exactly how I would dress up as a kid getting ready for a fucking war. So you just fucking tie shit to your face and you go.
Deep within the rocks of the earth.
And this is what I thought I looked like.
Within the very air. But despite its prevalence, magic and the ability to wield it are not innate characteristics of the world. What? Rather, they are alien powers brought here hundreds of years ago in a realm-wide event of cataclysmic proportions.
What? Whoa! That's a big lore drop! Gax Very, thank you for the 25 gifted subs! Holy shit, I'm holy! Very much appreciated. That's very nice of you, sir. Oh my god. Thank you. Appreciate the support. But dude, that's a big lore drop. The fact that these monsters and demons and creatures and magic is not natural to this world, but it was somehow some crazy shit happened 100 years ago. This conjunction of spheres or something. Dude, I thought conjunction of spheres was a nice way to say fondling your balls. But apparently it meant something entirely different. Okay. Oh, fuck. Okay.
The conjunction of
Boss in The Witcher, dwarves are an allusion to Jewish people. Everyone treats them like shit and takes their banks. Can we focus on the conjunction of spheres for a second, chat? Please, just for a second. Can we not talk about the fact that the fucking bank merchant people in every single multiverse are these short people with big noses? Can we not talk about that for a second? Oh my god. Bro, stop! But anyway, that's a really interesting lore drop. That changes the setting for me entirely. So again, this geopolitical thing, this has been going on for well over 100 years before magic happened. So everyone had to make a pretty stark change in their way of life by the fact that there was this conjunction of spheres. That is sick. That is so awesome. Like normally when we're in a fantasy world, we look at it like from the perspective of like a D&D world, right? Like we look at it from the perspective of a more D&D style story, or the Forgotten Realms, where it looked like, you know, there were these different races, they always existed together, eventually humans popped up, eventually they popped up, different wars, different things happened, but it's not like there was an actual cataclysmic change in the setting that one day, boom, something happened and everything changed, and all of culture had to drastically shift gears in regard to what they're gonna do in the future. Fuck yeah! I love some good lore. I love some good lore. I am here for the good lore. I want that good shit.
Of the spheres. The conjunction is not a well-recorded or understood event, as it took place roughly 1,500 years ago.
Oh, it wasn't 100 years ago. Why did I say 100 years ago? Okay, 1,500 years ago. So that's already a long enough time that people, I think, are pretty familiar and confident with what's going on in the world. But it is interesting that it's not something that's that's not integral to the world they're in. I do like that.
And scant recordings have survived through the ages. What we do know is that it brought new things and wrought disaster upon the world.
Let's go.
It is thought by many scholars, priests, and sorcerers that the multiverse consists of many different realms, or spheres, separated from another by time and space, and drifting listlessly through the ethereal substance between. Like ships sailing on the water, these realms carry about, sliding past one another as they follow their paths. But when paths...
So it's like some sort of four-dimensional marbles where different worlds are just kind of passing each other by, not really having impact. And I guess what happened here was two of these dimensions collided.
Intersect. The ships are charted for a collision course. And so when realms come crashing together, their realities merge, and for a short time, they are no longer discrete, separate entities.
Interesting.
Some inhabitants get tossed overboard. Others find themselves on a new ship entirely. The conjunction of the spheres was a cataclysmic event that saw many, if not all spheres, realms, and dimensions intersect in a disastrous collision.
And that's why you have so many different races and species that are naturally from different places trying to fucking coexist. And believe it or not, it doesn't work so well for most of them. That is fucking crazy. So this isn't one marble that hits another marble. This is every one of these alternate universes and dimensions crashed into each other 1,500 years ago for one moment and shook everything up. Coexist? Sounds like heresy. And that shit gave us the elves. Am I allowed to legitimately be racist against the elves? I want to understand personally. I want to understand, not for like virtue signaling reasons. I'm just saying, if I know that my racism is justified, it makes me much happier.
The conjunction allowed many things to enter the world, including the first humans. But more
the humans aren't natural to the world of The Witcher? I thought for sure it was like the human world and all these other races jumped on board. The humans aren't the natural ones? Fuck, dude. Okay. So it's so interesting. You know how like in our world, people will like go to like ancient cities and they'll dig shit up and they'll be like, oh, we found a 2,000-year-old artifact. That shit doesn't happen in The Witcher because humans aren't natural to this world. Oh my God. Humans are like, I mean, they're not there on purpose. It was an accident, but they're like accidental colonizers. That's fucking crazy. Humanity is an invasive species in the world of The Witcher. That puts things in a different perspective. Okay. Who the fuck is this Nithral guy and why does he look so badass?
Importantly, it brought the energy source, soon to be called magic, permeating into the world and suffusing it with its properties. And the world has been different ever since. But what exactly is magic?
Great question.
Magic, sometimes referred to as the power, the
Lame! The power? Oh,
force, or chaos.
The force! Chaos! They literally stole that shit from every other universe. What should we call it? We should call it power. That's gay. What else? The force. No, that's Star Wars. Chaos? No, that's Warhammer. Why don't we just call it magic? Okay.
Is a mystical energy that is wielded by mages, druids, witchers, and other humanoids.
Witchers use magic? I thought they were just like Giga Chads. Roided up fucking Giga Chad. Anyway, that's why we're doing the lore dive. All right.
As well as magically inclined creatures to cast spells, fuel weapons of war, conduct research, heal, and hex.
Nice.
In order to use magic, one must first channel its power. There are some individuals born with an unusually strong connection to magic and have the ability to unlock devastating magical potential.
Nice!
They are known as sources, and their abilities often manifest in dangerous, erratic ways that, if not educated properly, lead to madness and death. Notable sources include Princess Cirilla of Sintra and her mother Pavetta. It's true that...
How did they become sources? Are they just like kind of born that way? Like, are they kind of born with this predisposition to using magic? Or is it something that they train to connect themselves to this ethereal realm? Elder blood? Ancient bloodline? Okay, all right. So they're born to it. It's like a birthright type thing instead of more of a hard work type shenanigans. Elder blood. He has an entire video in his lore thing about the elders. So anyway, 10,000 likes and we'll keep going deeper into Witcher lore for sure.
Sorcerers, or magic wielders, can use magic alone, but it comes at the expense of their own vitality, and so they rely on channeling magic from the world around them. To channel, one needs the talent for magic and then only two things.
Only women can be sorcerers? Okay. Are you telling me that only women can be sorcerers and literally no one was complaining about girl bosses, and now that they're making a woman a witcher, everyone's complaining? That makes so much sense. Why the fuck would they feel like they need to make a woman a witcher and fuck with the lore of the world for girl boss points when there literally are an entire group of female-only sorcerers? Whatever. I can't. The artistic vandalism always pisses me off. It's more complicated than that. Listen, I'll do the lore dive before we get into the drama, all right? I need to consume all lore and all drama, so we'll consume everything. I'm just saying.
Concentrated will and focus.
All right.
But of course, proper channeling takes years of study and practice. Uncontrolled channeling is often damaging and even fatal. There are 4 elements from which mages channel. There are water, earth,
fire, and
air, and fire.
There's no fucking way. It really is Avatar shit. I was just kidding. I swear. I was joking. Honestly, I'm telling you.
Natural elements correspond to elemental planes and thus have large reserves of magical potential.
Okay. So there is some sort of, I guess, supernatural, spiritual side to these 4 elements, which is how they're pulling this reserve out. The 4 elements: sexism, racism, misogyny, and hatred. And I am the Avatar, master of the Shut up, Chet.
Element has a specific type of magic associated with it. Water is among the first elements new sorcerers use to channel, as it is both a...
Oh, so every sorcerer could technically use all 4 of these forms, as well as many other things. These are just probably the easiest ways to form because water, earth, fire, and air already have like these, I guess, supernatural elements to them. So they start off as water benders and then they move their way up.
Abundant and relatively stable. Often hydromancy is used as a means of divination and reading fates from water.
Ooh.
Air is an easy source to draw upon for channeling, but it's difficult to control due to its aggressive dynamics. Air is used by soothsayers, and druids or mages call on it to control weather.
Cool.
Earth is the most accessible of the elements.
There's earth everywhere.
One just need look down at their—
Oh my god, this is a guy from The Witcher? What, they make like golems? That's fucking awesome!
own feet. Additionally, it has huge potential for power, but due to its static and stubborn nature, it requires a great deal more effort to channel, and so most sorcerers do not call upon it. Those that do can create destructive seismic activity and create golems of stone
That's a golem. Fuck.
to wage war.
That's so dope. So those are human-made, I guess. Human sorcerers make this shit.
Fire is the most dangerous of the elements to channel due to its fickle nature and unpredictability. It often provides its power too swiftly, which can kill the unsuspecting mage.
Oh my god.
Sorcerers that have learned deep focus and concentration can call upon fire to devastating effect. So now that a mage has successfully channeled the power, what happens next? The accumulated mystical power is transferred into something more tangible, colloquially known as casting a spell. There are but two ingredients absolutely necessary for casting a spell: concentration and an adequate amount of accumulated power.
Makes sense, right? It's mind, and I guess power would be like soul. I guess it's whatever the spiritual aspect to this power system is. I mean, it's pretty straightforward in regards to magic power system so far. Controlling your chi and shit.
Of course, many wielders of magic rely on incantations and gesticulations to make the act of spellcasting easier.
Right, that's probably similar to signs and, hand signs and seals and words that people are able to focus on. Like, it's the classic Harry Potter, Naruto type shit where, they very much, it helps focus. It's not the words or the seals that actually create this power, but they help the mind focus and concentrate on specific things so that their gang signs could fucking kick some ass. All right.
But it isn't vital. The power required to cast a spell is proportional to its strength and complexity.
My god, fuck, dude, look at her. Her eyes are bleeding and shit. What, did she draw too much power or something? Damn, dude, I need to fucking play the Witcher games. This looks awesome.
Fact often troubles less experienced sorcerers that use excessive amounts of power to cast mundane spells. Spells take myriad shapes and functions. Many are used for divination, others for moving objects in nature, and yet others for creating something from nothing. The extent to which magic may be applied is limited only by the ingenuity and creativity of its caster.
Bro!
There are two subsets of magic that have been deemed forbidden due to their
death magic and... Alright, that's all I got.
Dangerous or unethical potential. They are Goetia and necromancy.
I'm literally the goat. I'm telling you, it's every single time. Literally every fucking time. But death magic is forbidden. Ah, fuck you!
Goetia involves the
Goetia.
summoning of demons or demonic entities from other planes and
Alright, that makes sense. Demon summoning and necromancy. Yup, makes sense to me. Yeah, I would ban that shit ASAP. Get that shit out of here.
dimensions in hopes of controlling them for the summoner's purposes. It's quite easy to perform, but demons are powerful creatures, and only an equally powerful mage would be able to control or contain them.
And obviously we're scared that the person that summons the demon is not actually gonna be able to fucking control the demon, and then the demon will eat their face and other faces of everyone around them. Makes sense to me.
Sadly, most summoners are quickly pulverized.
Yeah.
Necromancy can be used to raise the dead, or as a means of divination to seek answers from the recently departed.
Oh shit.
The knowledge of necromancy is not forbidden. Its practice, however, is deemed unethical. Signs
Oh, eat your fucking ethics. I wanna bring back Mordekaiser, god damn it!
are small spells and cantrips frequently used by witchers for a few reasons.
Oh, so the witchers use spells like that. They're not major sorcerers, but they do like make like little force fields and shit for their demon hunting abilities. All right.
Firstly, to use a sign requires only concentration and a small gesture. The user doesn't even need to possess the talent for magic.
Oh shit.
They merely need not be anti-talent.
Okay, so they're not anti-talent, meaning they're not a fucking Rock Lee, okay? But if they're not Rock Lee, with the right gestures and the right concentration, they could use like shitty little spells. I guess the sorcerers are the ones with the Elder Bloods. They're wizards, not sorcerers. All right. But the sorcerers, I guess, have the Elder Blood. They're able to like fully tap into the arcane.
Secondly, these spells are quick to cast, making them particularly effective during combat without slowing a witcher down.
Right? Because most sorcerers are probably gonna sit there in the back and concentrate for 40 minutes, making faces, looking like they're taking a very, very uncooperative shit on the toilet, and they're gonna fuck around in the background until they bring lightning down on their enemies. The Witchers, they're in the middle of fucking combat. They're fighting these giant goddamn centipede-looking motherfuckers with giant titties, all right? And when they're fighting those guys, they don't got time to sit there and for an hour and a half. They have to flip their middle finger up and cast a shield or something, or whatever the fuck they do that. So I guess that makes sense.
Often surprise their adversaries. There are many useful signs for Witchers, such as Ard, a kinetic wave that can knock down opponents.
The Force.
And Igni, which sends forth hot waves of flame.
That's pretty fucking good. Igni. Damn. I mean, it's very Latin. I don't know what Ard is, but Igni is very Latin.
Magic has a long and interwoven history with civilizations, kingdoms, and society at large.
Not that long, only about 1,500 years.
One rich enough to warrant a full-length video exploring this history. Briefly, most human sorcerers and sorceresses belong to the Brotherhood of Sorcerers.
Oh, so there are male sorcerers. I was literally gaslit by my chat. All right.
An organization of mages founded centuries ago. They can frequently be found in the high courts of many kingdoms, acting as advisors to the ruling class and steering their realms toward continued progress.
All right, cool.
Some courts.
So I guess the sorcerers are kind of similar to witchers in that they're kind of their own little sect, but ultimately they do get involved with the different politics of the different nations that they are involved with. Like if someone is a political advisor, then obviously they're not neutral, right?
However, see the Brotherhood of Sorcerers as a secretive, manipulating body. And distrust.
Yeah, they're sitting. Okay, so unlike the Witchers who don't want to get involved with anyone, the sorcerers are like, we are going to fuck with everyone. They're the Illuminati of the Witcher universe.
Trust any mage that tries to intervene in their kingdom's affairs. A large portion of sorcerers act as mage journeymen, traveling from settlement to settlement, seeking out locals who need their services. Traditionally, the Brotherhood teaches new mages from two different schools.
Right.
Female adepts are trained in the art at the Academy of Aretuza on the Thanedd Islands.
Cool.
Male adepts, conversely, are schooled at the Institution of Banard in Kaedwen.
Based. Girls only schools and boy only schools. We don't want our fucking mages fucking. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying. They just didn't want that shit happening. It's like, when I said cast your liquid spell, I didn't mean that. You know what I'm saying?
There is a long-standing belief that the sorceresses of Aretuza receive a higher quality education and are better trained than their male counterparts.
Damn. Female privilege. Crazy. Am I right, guys? Am I right, guys? Ooh, it's an ugly fugly.
Magic was not the...
All right, I'm ready, baby. I'm fucking ready. Let's go.
The only thing that arrived on the Earth with a conjunction of the spheres.
All right, so this conjunction, that's the thing that happened 1,500 years ago. All the different dimensions collided and shit. And now magic entered this world, and so did humans, and so did monsters. I'm really glad we're doing this world building. I personally think that this should have been the first video, I would say, of the lore series, not the geopolitics.
Vile creatures from plains steeped in darkness. Hulking
nah, bro, I identify as a sorcerer. I need to go to the girls' school. Based!
Monstrosities with the power to destroy entire villages.
Goddamn.
Beings with an appetite for the creatures of the earth, especially humans.
Damn.
These are the monsters of The Witcher.
All right, let's go.
Many of the monsters of today
I want to do a lore dive into every individual monster, too. God, dude.
are post-conjunction beings brought to the earth by that long ago and cataclysmic event. They're not native to the realm, and as such, didn't develop into the hierarchy of nature.
Yeah, so it is interesting. We're living in a world where Darwinism literally did not work, right? Like Darwinism, we're focused on evolution. How every single person and creature has like some evolutionary practice that made them who they are over the course of thousands of millions of years. Here, there's a bunch of invasive species slammed together, and obviously some of them are gonna go extinct, and some of them are gonna fuck each other up, right? You look at what's happening with the cane toad population in Australia, as an example. There was a rat infestation in Australia, so they brought in cane toads to eat the rats. Turns out cane toads are fucking poisonous, and all the nature that's all the creatures that are eating the cane toads are fucking dying, and the cane toads have tons of children. Now there are billions of cane toads that live in Australia, or people that release pythons in Florida. Pythons are eating the alligators native to Florida. It's like they literally just threw a bunch of apex predators from alternate realities all together, and over the course of 1500 years, we are watching these people literally fucking each other up. There are so many examples of this even in our universe on our planet. It was a bug problem, not a rat problem. Whatever, you get the point. But where they are here, this is people. This is creatures from different universes with incredibly varied power levels, literally just fucking around and finding out. Biologists in shambles looking at this place. Captive red ball pythons are very sweet. All right, this is not the discussion we're having right now, but I'm talking about reticulated pythons that are not very sweet, and they grow to 36 feet in length, and they are released in Florida by pet owners once they get too big, and the 36-foot long pythons eat the alligators. Okay, this is a fact.
They come from a myriad of realms and are themselves vastly different.
Dies of necrophages. Thus science triumphed, though rot fiends themselves likely did not particularly care. All right, nice, let's go.
Different from another.
This is how rot fiends look on their day of the month.
In most respects. Yet there are some shared characteristics between the majority of monster races. They are seen as abominations by the natural beings of the earth. These monsters don't fit any ecological role or niche.
Obviously, right? It doesn't make any sense in the ecosystem. It's not like, oh, well, this creature exists because it's a predator or one thing and a prey to a different thing, and that thing exists because it fits somewhere else in the food chain. Like, dude, they do not fit in the food chain. There's no reason why this world is literally on the verge of collapsing. It's an ecosystem that's fucking gross and dying and rotten. That's such an interesting world building moment. Fuck, dude. I love some good lore dives, bro. I love some good lore dives.
And many can be likened to an invasive species. Most monsters have a predilection for hunting or indiscriminate killing, and most all have an aversion or weakness to silver.
Ooh.
It's true that some creatures
very vampire-esque
native to the world can be called monsters, like the werebub and Vran.
Wait, so these are like the native creatures, unlike the humans.
And so I must qualify that when I say monster, I'm referring to the post-conjunction species that encroach on the natural order.
Yeah.
All throughout the continent, monsters can be found lurking in dark forests, hiding beneath murky waters, or soaring over the clouds.
Damn.
Their presence and danger to humans is what initially spawned the school of witchers.
Obviously, witches are literally just monster hunters, right? They are literally just there to kill these monsters that are fucking threatening humans' existence.
Creatures called necrophages subsist mainly on carrion and corpses,
Ew.
although they do eat fresh meat as well.
Oh, that's nice.
Necrophages include the abhorrent and disgusting ghouls, foglets and rot fiends, as well as drowners, which use their skill in water to catch unsuspecting prey.
Yeah.
It's thought that due to their similarities, all necrophages came from the same realm.
Alright.
Then there exist creatures created by magic, sustained by it,
Oh my fucking god, dude. Look at these character designs. These are creepy as shit.
or possessing magical abilities. They include but aren't limited to the accursed beings such as Striga, botchlings, and wraiths. The dangerous shape-shifting bloodsuckers collectively referred to as vampires. The winged hybrid species like the griffin and cockatrice.
Oh my god, dude. They made the scariest looking griffin of all time, bro.
The enigmatic, intelligent, shape-shifting being of the
Ooh, that one looks sick.
forest, known as the Leshen. And the majestic, awe-inspiring races of dragons that soar across the vast mountain
Damn.
ranges of the north.
Fuck, we need to do a deep dive into all the different monsters in The Witcher.
The monsters of The Witcher are diverse in appearance and habitat. They frequently hunt weaker,
Dude, what is that? Is that one of the Ents?
unsuspecting prey, desecrate graveyards, and stalk moonlit highway roads. They make the world all the
They
more
make the world terrifying, honestly.
dangerous for its inhabitants, but at the same time, all the more interesting as scholars seek to understand their ways. Were it not for the conjunction of the spheres, the entire history of the world would look much different than it does in the current age.
Yeah, no wonder why this place is fucking dying and rotting from the inside out. It's all these races and species with obviously very different values and morals and ethics that cannot possibly get along or live together. They are each other's unnatural prey. Bro, imagine going for a hike and a mountain stands up. That's when you gotta toss a coin to your Witcher, baby. Yeah. Fuck, that was good.
Thanks
shit.
for watching this video on the
really
magic
good.
that comprises the Witcher world and the monsters that can be found within.
That's good
Leave
shit.
a
That was a really, really good good lore dive. Anyway, so that's been the geopolitics, the magic, the monsters, and the mystical of the Witcher world. I am very ready to keep doing this lore dive. Just give me 10,000 likes on this video and I will get there. Dude, check out the Lorebrarians. This was a great video. I'm very intrigued and I am very ready for the next one. Great shit. Thank you all so much for being here. This was a good lore dive. And it is now super obvious why you need a, you know, group like The Witcher to exist. And I feel like I am so much more satisfied with my knowledge of the Witcher lore. Let me know if you want me to keep diving into Witcher lore, because I'm going to consume all lore. The order of the lore that I consume is irrelevant, because all lore will be consumed. Subscribe to Nux Taku for 2 lore videos every single week, and remember to stay weird, fam. Like, subscribe, and this video was streamed live on kick.com/Nuxanor. See you there. Stay weird, fam.